Compare the domain and range and any existing intercepts of the cubic function f of x equals negative x cubed minus 2 and 5/10 and its inverse, the cube root function g of x equals the cube root of negative x plus 2 and 5/10. Okay, so first looking at the domain and range, we see that this is a cube root function and a cubic function. Both of those do not have any restrictions. There's no asymptotes. And so they both are from negative infinity to positive infinity for both the domain and the range. Now let's find the x-intercepts of both f of x and g of x. So for the x-intercept, we know that y has to be 0. And so in both equations, we can just take either f of x or g of x and plug in 0. So with f of x, it'll be 0 equals negative x cubed minus 2 and 5/10. And then we can go ahead and solve for x. So adding 2 and 5/10 on each side. We get 0 plus 2 and 5/10 is 2 and 5/10 equals x cubed. And then, negative x cubed. And since it's negative, that's like having a negative 1 in front. So we can go ahead and divide by negative 1 on both. And so then we get x cubed. I'm just going to write it over here actually. We get positive x cubed, since negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1, equals negative 2 and 5/10. And now to get x completely alone, we need to take the cube root of each side. So we get cube root of negative 2.5 equals x. So our x-intercept will be the cube root of negative 2 and 5/10, comma 0. Okay, so now let's find the x-intercept of g of x. So again, we'll plug in 0 for g of x. So the first thing we need to do is just get x out from this cube root. And how we can do that is just by raising both sides to the third power. And that undoes our cube root. So 0 cubed is 0. And then on the other side, the root and the exponent cancels, and we're just left with negative x plus 2 and 5/10. And then we have basically a negative 1 in front. And so we can divide both sides by negative 1. And we see 0 divided by negative 1 is just 0. And then on the other side, we're just left with what's in parentheses, because negative 1 divided by negative 1 is just 1. And now finally, to get x alone, we can subtract 2 and 5/10 on each side. So we get 0 minus 2 and 5/10 is just negative 2 and 5/10 equals x. So our answer here is negative 2 and 5/10, 0. Okay, so now let's do the y-intercept of f of x and y-intercept of g of x. The y-intercept is just the opposite. We do x equals 0. So if we plug in 0 for x, we would get f of 0 equals negative 0 cubed minus 2 and 5/10. So just solving that out, negative 0 cubed, well 0 cubed is just 0, negative 0 is just 0. So we get 0 minus 2 and 5/10, which then just gives us negative 2 and 5/10. So our answer here is 0, negative 2 and 5/10. And then for the y-intercept of g of x, we'll plug it in for g of 0 equals cubed root of negative 0 plus 2 and 5/10. So then simplifying underneath the square root, 0 plus 2 and 5/10 is just 2 and 5/10. So we have the cube root of negative 2 and 5/10. Okay, and so our intercept here will be 0 cube root of negative 2 and 5/10. So notice here that the y-intercept of g of x equals the x-intercept of f of x, and the x-intercept of g of x equals the y-intercept of f of x. So our final answer will be both domain and range of the functions include all real numbers negative infinity to infinity. The x-intercept of f of x and the y-intercept of g of x are cube root of negative 2 and 5/10, 0, and 0, cube root of negative 2 and 5/10 respectively. The approximate value of the cube root of negative 2 and 5/10 is negative 1.357. The y-intercept of f of x and the x-intercept of g of x are 0, negative 2 and 5/10, and negative 2 and 5/10, 0 respectively. So the last thing I wanted to point out is that here, if you just plug into a calculator the cube root of negative 2 and 5/10, you will see that that is negative 1.357 rounded. So that is one last thing to point out, and that is your answer.